how to mass produce individualized training programs by using templates. I'm going to show you how easy it is once you actually have a good template that you can use. So this is my template here, and I've given myself a client description, and this is a person who actually has a little bit of issues because I didn't want to make it too easy on myself. So Gen Pop, middle-aged person, their focus is on body composition change. I didn't want to say weight loss because I don't like that term, but they're trying to decrease their body fat percentage. Maybe they have some slight knee pain when like squatting and stuff like that, going into knee flexion. And they have poor shoulder range of motion. This probably is fairly common amongst the general population, right? So this is what I call my mother program. I call it the mother program because I can use this to create other templates. I can also use it to easily, quickly create individualized training programs, which I'm going to do. So, excuse me, this person, we know that they are looking for a body composition change. We know that they have slight knee pain and poor shoulder range of motion. They want to change their body composition. They will probably benefit from gaining a little bit of muscle mass. They will also benefit from doing large compound movements. So for our main lift, number 1, we are going to make this a squat. What type of squat are we going to make it? We know that they have knee pain, so squatting could be an issue. So we're going to do a goblet squat to bench, kind of like a sit to a stand type of squat. And depending on how they do with a standard 18-inch bench, we can either increase it or decrease it, but that's going to be something that we find out within the session. And then for the main accessory, I always like my main accessory lift to complement the first exercise that I do and to squat more properly, more optimally. We know that we will want to be able to expand the backside of our back. We want to be able to sit back and down. And if that is closed off because the shoulder blades are pinched together or the hips are tipped forward, that's going to be more challenging. So I like to typically do something to bring somebody out of that position. And so I will do a seated lat pull down. I'm thinking of like what I could actually do at the gym that I work at. We have a pulley system. We don't have any cable machines or anything like that, but we have a pulley system that we can have up high, and then you sit on the floor, so you're in fairly decent amount of hip flexion, which is going to roll your hips back and help you get your ribs stacked over your hips a little bit better. Big exhale as you pull, then nice inhale as you reach, kind of allowing the shoulder blades to open up that back side of the body to then complement the squat. I'm not going to explain every single exercise because that will make this video too long. So then B1, core accessory lower body. So this is going to be an accessory to our main lift. And this is going to be, since we had a more knee dominant movement for our A1, then this B1 is going to be a more hip dominant movement, and I'm going to have it be a kickstand RDL. If you don't know what that is, it's a split stance deadlift, split stance Romanian deadlift. So you're starting from the top. If you wanna learn about it, Pat Davidson is the greatest teacher of the kickstand RDL. Core accessory upper body. So we already did a vertical pull. Now I typically like to complement that or offset that with a vertical pushing type exercise. However, we know this person has poor shoulder range of motion. Going overhead and a complete vertical press is probably going to be very challenging. So what I'm going to have this person do is a landmine press, because that's going to be still inclined, not quite vertical, not necessarily straight up overhead, a little bit more in front of the body. So we'll go landmine, single arm press. I should probably say single arm landmine press, but that's okay. Accessory like number 1. What the heck does that mean? This is an exercise that this client will kind of enjoy. It's something that they want to do. It makes them feel good. And this is something that you'll kind of have to figure out by getting to know them. I'm going to be stereotypical right now. If this was a guy, then we would probably be doing some type of tricep or bicep or ab. If it was a lady, we would probably be doing some type of ab or bicep or tricep. Most people like doing arms and abs. So I'm going to make this, because we know that they have poor shoulder range of motion. So let's do a half kneeling chop exercise, because that's going to get some rotation in the rib cage and potentially help the shoulder range of motion. But I'm not going to explain every exercise because I'll make it too long. Resilience, accessory, lower body. So this is something that we're going to do to build up a little bit more resilience in the muscle tissue, aka it's more like conditioning type work. So this person, they have some knee issues, so we're not going to do any high impact like jumping or anything like that, but I could have them do a sled march. Accessory like number 2, we're going to do tricep extensions. And resilience accessory number 3, typically an upper body, since we already did a lower body. This could also be another like exercise. I get to bust out some more abs here if that's something that they're interested in, or you could do more arms if you haven't, because we already did triceps. If you want to also hit biceps, go ahead and do that. But I'm going to stick with the resilience, and we'll do a med ball rotation slam, because actually a lot of people like doing slams because it gets some aggression out, right? So, oh yeah, I didn't mention the warm up, get the body moving, get the temperature elevated, get the muscles warm, right? You probably know how to do that. And then a cool down, I typically like to do something to help bring the nervous system back down, because we probably got the nervous system a little bit more ramped up. So I'm not gonna go into that. This is also part of the template. I use this more for my athletes, but every now and then I do have some Gen Pop clients that I do use this part of the template with. But I'm not going to get into that right now. So that was just day 1, right? Let's say this person comes in 2 times a week. Our main lift on day 1 was a squat. So our main lift on day 2, let's make it a deadlift. And we're going to make this a kettlebell deadlift, just because they are newer to training and might not have a ton of experience. We want to make sure that they can do it properly without any risk of, back issues. Not saying deadlifts are bad for your back, but if you do them poorly, then yeah, they are probably bad for your back. So then for the main accessories, since on day 1 we did a vertical pull and a vertical push, on day 2 we're going to do a horizontal push. And because we know that this person has some shoulder stuff going on, we're going to do a dumbbell floor press. So like a dumbbell chest press, but on the floor, so that the floor stops the elbow from going too low, helps you control it a little bit better. I also like doing these on plyo boxes because it's more similar to being on a bench. You don't have to get onto the floor, because getting your dumbbells up when you're lying back on the floor is kind of challenging. But when you're seated up on a box, it's a lot easier. So I do like substituting a box for the floor, because the box is still going to stop the elbows from going too low. Core accessory lower body, on day 1 we did more of a hip hinge accessory. On day 2 we're going to do more of a knee dominant. So let's do an assisted split squat. I can't spell. because this is a potential for knee issues. So we're going to give them a little bit of assistance, maybe hang on to a TRX or a band to help them on the way up. They can deload their body on the way up if they need to, and they can better control the amount of resistance on the way down to make sure it doesn't bug their knees. Core accessory upper body. We already did a horizontal push, so now we will do a horizontal pull. And we know that this person's got some shoulder stuff going on, so alternating chest supported rows I think would be an awesome option. Alternating activity is always great to get some rotation through the rib cage, which is targeting the rib cage for shoulder stuff is probably the way to go. But I said I'm not going to get into it right now. Accessory like number 1. We did core on day 1, and we did a chop. So maybe on this day we can do more of like a sagittal plane core exercise, target more six-pack versus obliques. So let's do a ab saw on a stability ball, because that's actually potentially going to help with their shoulders. Might strengthen their serratus muscle, get the shoulder blade back down onto the rib cage. Resilience accessory lower body. We did sled march on day 1, so let's do a sled pull on day 2, right? Accessory like number 2, we did triceps, right? We did triceps on day 1, we'll do biceps on day 2. And for upper body, we can do a different type of a medicine ball throw, or we could do battle ropes, something to kind of get them tired and make them feel like they got a good session in, is typically what I like to end with. Let's just say battle ropes. Battle ropes, I feel like for the most part, are quite shoulder friendly because you're not going through a great range of motion, right? There we go. So it's pretty easy to use a template to quickly bust out a program for your client. Now you already know kettlebell deadlift we're going to do on week 1, we're going to do 3x8. On week 2, we're going to do 3x10. And you have a spot to plug in your weight for every week that you do it, right? It is super quick and easy, and if you don't actually talk about doing it like I did in this video, it is much quicker. I probably could have done this in like 3 minutes if I didn't talk about it. All right, there you go. If you have any questions, let me know.